So apparently there's a rematch clause in place for this Joe Joyce Joseph Parker fight, and it seems as though it was Team Joyce who insisted upon it. Now, if the rematch takes place, then it will be on Sky Box Office. This was confirmed by Joseph Parker's promoter, Ben Shalom. And Joseph Parker and Ben Shalom in an interview were making out as though they didn't need a rematch clause in place. They were perfectly confident having a one fight deal. In fact, Joseph Parker talked about that regarding his handshake with Frank Warren, that it would be a one fight deal. And Frank Warren wanted a three fight deal or whatever the case may be. And in fact, Frank Warren has kind of admitted that he wanted a multi fight deal with Joseph Parker. In any event, does this suggest that Team Parker are actually more confident than Team Joyce if they were willing to have a one fight deal, whereas Team Joyce basically want to fight twice, or they want the option to fight twice? And with Frank Warren, it would have been thrice, right? I mean, I don't know if it would be three fights against Joyce, potentially two fights against Joyce and another fight against somebody else. But as I say, does that mean that Team Parker are more confident? Now, stylistically, you can see how Joseph Parker could be a nightmare for Joe Joyce because he's fast, he's athletic, he's got quick hands, he's got quick feet. And for the most part, Joseph Parker doesn't get hit that much. He's relatively good at staying out of the way. Yeah, he got dropped by Derek Chisora and Dylan White, but against Anthony Joshua, he managed to stay out of the way. Against Andy Ruiz, he, for the most part, managed to stay out of the way. So his defense isn't bad. And of course, in the Derek Chisora rematch, he managed to stay out of the way as well while doing plenty of damage to Del Boy. So a guy with those kind of abilities, right, the fast hands, fast feet, relatively good defensively, you can see how that might be tough for Joe Joyce to contend with. Now, Joyce does have the ability to box behind the jab. We saw that against Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois is nowhere near as fast or fleet of foot as Joseph Parker. So whether the tactics he used against Dubois would work against Parker remains to be seen. I suspect it wouldn't be quite that simple. But surely Joe Joyce and his team, Ishmael Salas, will look at the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight and maybe try and emulate what Anthony Joshua did there again. That was similar tactics to the ones Joe Joyce employed against Dubois. But again, remains to be seen if that works. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What tactics should Joe Joyce employ here against Joseph Parker? And also, what do you think about there being a rematch clause in the contract and Team Joyce apparently being insistent upon it? Was it even Joyce who insisted upon the rematch clause, or was it actually Frank Warren? Maybe Joyce was happy to go ahead with a one fight deal. I don't know. But Warren, of course, is trying to not only get content for his broadcaster, but also add some level of security for himself in case his guy loses. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. And in terms of rematches in general, look, Dylan White had a rematch clause in place when he fought Alexander Povetkin. He could have just waited for his shot, but he decided to continue fighting these dangerous opponents. He gets knocked out by Povetkin first time, has a rematch clause in the contract, gets to run it back immediately afterwards. I understand why fighters and promoters do it, but from a fan perspective, it holds up the division. There are lots of fights which could have happened, but didn't because of rematch clauses. I mean, Tyson Fury, my real bugbear, my real gripe is when mandatory challengers agree to sign a contract with a rematch clause in it. I don't understand that. People talk about, oh yeah, they get extra money and all this kind of stuff, but again, from a fan perspective, it's holding up the division and the mandatory challenger doesn't have to do it. So Tyson Fury signed a rematch clause for Klitschko. Imagine if he hadn't. He might have got a defense in before that UCAD situation. Same with, let me think now. Well, Anthony Joshua against Alexander Usyk. Usyk decided to sign a rematch clause. And that's why we're getting the Usyk fight again. If that rematch clause wasn't signed by Usyk, if that wasn't in the contract, then perhaps we'd be getting the undisputed fight or Usyk against somebody else. Do you know what I mean? The only mandatory in recent memory, in the heavyweight division at least, that didn't have a rematch clause in the contract was Tyson Fury against Dylan White. Dylan White, obviously we know what happened in that fight, but he didn't want to do what Tyson Fury did, what Usyk did, and so on. If he won, he wanted to be able to sail off into the sunset. And I would hope that more mandatory challengers decide to go down that road in future because it gives us a break from the incessant rematch clauses, involuntary defenses, and now even between two contenders like Dylan White and Povetkin, or here with Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker, constant rematch clauses. Can we not move on and have the rematch somewhere down the line and see these guys against different fighters? You know? So, anyway, rant over. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below.